I'm Scott Allen Miller. This is my vlog of daily life living in Leon, Nicaragua. As a expat real estate investor here in the country, I get a lot of people who are asking me on a regular basis, and for years they've been doing this, who I would recommend under different circumstances as a real estate agent to help them with purchasing a home or moving down to Nicaragua. So we're going to get to that right after the bump. Regular viewers of my show are going to know exactly where I'm going to be going with this video. This is a topic that we cover quite a lot here on the channel because it's pretty important. But I get asked this question a lot of times when people discover the channel for the first time. They see what we do here and what life is like, and of course, one, they're instantly interested in the country. It's such a great potential option for someone who may be looking at moving abroad, whether temporarily or permanently or indefinitely at the very least. And of course, because I live here and because I do things with real estate, I have a lot of connections to potential resources for someone who's going to be looking for a home. And of course, because of how inviting the country is, how affordable it is, this makes people want to jump straight to potentially looking at least home options, if not actually making a decision on one relatively quickly. So I get asked, where would I recommend finding a real estate agent? Before we answer that, let's start with some really important basics. Now, we talked about this a bit, so you've heard, if you watch my channel all the time, you'll know that this is what we're going to say. But at the current time, at the beginning of 2024, we still do not have an official framework for real estate agents here in Nicaragua. And that's not a bad thing. There's no reason that we need to have one. But if you're coming from places like the United States or Canada or a lot of other countries, you're going to be used to real estate agents being a highly regulated industry and that their roles are officially defined and very carefully controlled. That is not the case here. So if you're getting someone who says they're a real estate agent, at the current time, this is going to change, but we don't know when. They are basically anyone who's just saying they're a real estate agent. It doesn't mean that they're accredited, it doesn't mean that they're trained, it doesn't mean that they're held under any ethics, and it certainly doesn't mean that there's a legal framework that defines what they are able to and required to and responsible for doing. So, I can tell you I'm a real estate agent. Someone you meet on the street can tell you they're a real estate agent. Someone who's never been to Nicaragua can tell you they're a real estate agent. My dog can tell you they're a real estate agent. Just saying those words means essentially nothing here, because it's not a legal term. In places like the United States, there is a legal framework and you're not allowed to claim to be a real estate agent unless you have certain responsibilities and you're legally registered. It's not hard to become one, but you have these requirements for that. And then there's another step, maybe not beyond that, but to the side of that, called Realtors with the National Association of Realtors, which is a union of people who work in that field. Of course, they've been in the news a lot for the lawsuits of all the illegal activities or questionable activities or unethical activities or ways that they've been scamming the American public and increasing the price of homes and collecting way too high of rates through monopoly and anti-competitive practices. So that's been big news in the United States recently. Don't reference me on that. Just go look it up. Look at places like Keller Williams and Century 21 and the lawsuits and of course the NAR and the lawsuits and the settlements that they've been having, especially in Missouri, but more have been coming. And it's a major thing in the North that using real estate agents is something you want to do very cautiously. But up in the North, there are these huge frameworks to protect you. Also, in most places that have real estate agents, they have a thing called a multiple listing service or something akin to it. That is a system that lists lots of information about what homes are on the market, what have been on the market in the past, how you do comparables or comps, so you're able to look at houses compared to each other. That does not exist in Nicaragua, and nothing even similar or close in any way whatsoever exist. Even the government has no such thing. So the fundamental framework that makes real estate agents seem like a good idea in a market like North America, where even there they don't seem like a good idea, here does not exist. So what little tiny flimsy fragile idea that it might be okay to start using real estate agents in North America, when you come to Central America, that's all gone and there's zero reason to be using it. They do not have an exclusive inventory of houses. That is coming, but it is not currently a thing. If someone has a house represented by a real estate agent, anybody can say they represent that house. The people who the owner has spoken to, if they've spoken to anyone, may or may not represent that house. Houses are often on the market for many years, so even even if they once did represent a house, that may be a long forgotten thing. The person that wanted to sell it may not even be around anymore. The market is completely different. There's no MLS, so there's no information gathering system for comparing all of the value, all the ideas, all the frameworks, all of it does not exist. And I know every single person who watches this is going to say, but there's an exception, and I'm the exception, and I found the exception, and you're not the exception. The person you found is not the exception. The situation you found is not the exception. There isn't an exception. This is how the system works. There are really concrete reasons why real estate agents used to make sense in North America. There are really concrete reasons why it's marginally reasonable to still use them in North America. And there are none of those reasons, not some, not a few, not just a tiny bit, none that exist here in Nicaragua. Not a single scrap of the slightest hint of a whisper of a shadow of a reason why you would ever engage a real estate agent to go look at homes. It makes no sense. Real estate agents, in this case, being people who are paid by commission to screw you over on a house, because that's what commission means when you're selling the process of buying a house. You're going to pay them more the more you spend. As a buyer looking to buy a house, it would be literally insane to put yourself in a situation where you're paying a commission based on how much someone can milk the money out of you, and putting that person in a position to have exclusive access to you and the ability to convince you and trick you and get way, way more of your money. And to do so almost always blindly. And anyone who's doing that has access to information and resources and the ability to manipulate you in ways that no one else does, or nearly no one else does. So it's really, really important. It is not possible for me to stress this enough. And no matter how much I stress this, every single day, I get asked, oh, where's the real estate agent you'd recommend? Who do you use? Obviously, I don't use someone. I have never used someone. That's not completely true. Many years ago, I tried using a number of real estate agents and found out firsthand some of the unbelievable illegal things that they were doing. So in some cases illegal, they were trying to steal things, they were lying about things, but in other cases just scamming me, just trying to raise the prices, just not representing the houses. Often they showed houses they didn't really represent. Often they showed houses that weren't even on the market. All kinds of things. The number of things that can be done to trick you when you give in to looking online and going with real estate agents in a market where there's no protections, none, is unbelievably large. If you think you're going to have some recourse against a real estate agent, think again. Because like I said, not a scrap of a whisper, of a thread, of a shadow, of a hint of any such framework. So if you go and sue a real estate agent and say, oh, they didn't do the job that I paid them to do, the government's going to say, there's no such thing as a real estate agent. What is wrong with you? You made the mistake. You knew not to do this. You did not have a lawyer tell you to do this. You did not get advisory services that told you to do this. This does not logically make any sense whatsoever. There is no government framework that puts these people in front of you and says, this is who represents houses. None of that exists. Why did you engage this random person and give them your personal information and then promise them more money based on the bigger the scam they can run on you? Because that's how it works. If you say, I could spend between $100,000 and $300,000 on a house, but I'd like to spend as little as possible, but I will pay you a commission. You have legally, in every jurisdiction in the world, eliminated the I'd like to spend as little as possible, because the thing that matters is you said, I will pay you more the more you can get me to spend. You just paid to make your agent guaranteed to be paid based on the worst job they can do for you. Let that sink in. That makes no sense. But that's what people think they're going to do. No one wants to pay a professional upfront to help them look for a house, and you probably don't need to. I'm not recommending that, but no one even wants to do that, where you spend, I'm just going to spend $1,000, I'm going to hire someone who knows what they're doing, I'm going to pay them to look for a house. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants it free, but it's not free. If you don't pay for it up front, you're going to pay for it somewhere else. And when they control every aspect, not only do they have the ability to just raise the price, they know what you're willing to spend. Why would they ever negotiate down? They're going to negotiate up. We'll sell them the house for $250,000. No, don't tell them that. Tell them $299,000. Tell them $350,000. I'll talk you down to $3,000. We'll all make as much money as possible. You'll get the $300,000. I'll get the commission. And that's if they're honest to the seller. There's no reason for them to be honest to the seller. Why don't they buy the house for $250, sell it to you for $300? They'll pocket the $50,000 difference and get a commission that is bigger because they sold it to you at a higher rate. And you can't complain about that because they have every legal right to do so because they're not a real estate agent in the way we think of them in North America. All of that is to say the thing we keep saying in every single case. There's no exception. If you're looking to buy a house, do not engage a real estate agent. It's not don't engage that real estate agent. It's don't go out and go to this company. No, don't do this process. This is the number one what not to do when you actually are coming to Nicaragua. We have lots of things we say not to do. Don't try to buy a house too early. Don't worry about, residency. Don't rush into that. Certainly be on a path, but don't worry about. But the number one action item of do not do this is do not reach out and engage a buyer's agent to help you buy a house. Never, ever pay a percentage to someone who controls your negotiations. You never pay the inverse for what you benefit from, right? I'm going to pay someone to go shopping for me, and I'll pay them extra based on how much they get ripped off, right? Suddenly your $200 grocery bill is going to be a $2,000 grocery bill, right? And your 1%, I'll pay them $2 for this. Now I'm paying them $20 for this. I'm paying them $20 based on getting an extra $1,800. That makes no sense, but that's literally what people are saying. I'm not saying it's figurative. That's literally what people are doing. Paying extra to be ripped off extra. That's nuts. So don't do that. So no matter how much people ask, who would I recommend? The answer is, I don't recommend anyone. I absolutely recommend you don't go down this path. Now, whatever is making you want to have a real estate agent, right? I really want to get a house. So first of all, stop and think. All those things tend to be bad. People tend to want to buy too early. They haven't put in the research. If you think a real estate agent might be someone you want to engage, that means guaranteed you haven't done the research to be buying real estate here in Nicaragua. It is not a tough market. It is not a hard market. It is not the easiest market, but it's on the easy side. So what do you do? People say to me all the time, Scott, okay, stop with the don't do things. Tell me what to do. All right, cool. That's fine. Number one, be patient. Don't rush into buying a house. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure you really know where you're going. Make sure you really know the market. Make sure you don't have to ask someone to recommend a real estate agent when you should have known by the time you were ready to buy a house that you could not possibly consider getting a real estate agent. Had I recommended one, you would have gone down a path where I just completely scammed you. I'm probably getting a kickback from the real estate agent, and they're, of course, getting a kickback however they're selling the house, right? It's logical. There's no way I could recommend a real estate agent in good conscience. So anyone who's willing to give you a name means they're not matching my ethics, right? I can't ethically tell you a name, but I could really, really easily make a deal and make quite a bit of money by giving you a name. That would be the easiest way to make money on this channel. So easy, because everyone asks, no matter how much, I wouldn't even have to stop saying don't use a real estate agent because I get asked every day regardless. That's how easy it would be to start this process. And it would demonstrate from that moment go that if I did that, you'd already be going down the path of something wrong. So you don't want to be in a position where you don't know that. You need to know that much of a market before you look to buy. There's just too many pitfalls. Someone's going to sell to you in a bad neighborhood. Someone's going to sell to you a house that doesn't make any sense for you. They're going to unload things on you because they're going to know that you don't know what you're doing. It's going to be really obvious. So they're going to take advantage of that. So you need to know the market. There's just a certain amount you can't do. Now, if you need to hire an agent, not a real estate agent, but you need to hire a proxy who's going to do your shopping for you, and you're like, look, I can't be there, but I got to get a house. I don't know why that would be, but it does happen. Then you got to find someone you really trust. Pay them in real money like normal people. Pay them to be someone who works for you. Don't pay them a commission based on how much they rip you off, and set them to getting you a good deal. Make sure it's someone you trust. Make sure it's someone who knows what they're doing. But and make sure you have a good lawyer who's overseeing the process. Right? You got to have, same as anywhere. There's no market where you would buy property and not have a good lawyer. So make sure you have a good lawyer. And maybe they'll find this person for you. Maybe they'll be this person, right? Lawyers are held to different standards. There's laws that regulate what lawyers do. So a lawyer could be the right person for you to be in this position. So, okay, So you get a good lawyer, you get out there and you have them or their agent or your proxy, whatever, you go and you find your property or you do it with them. You drive around and you look. That's how people do it here. I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's what you do. You drive around, you walk around, you knock on doors, you look at properties, you get to know the market, you get to know what asking prices there are, you evaluate, you talk to people, you find out what real people are paying, you start to make educated guesses as to how much things are worth. You find out how long things have sat on the market, how long other things have sat on the market, right? You see a house that's been on the market for 150 for 3 years, it's not worth 150. It's that simple, right? Someone has walked up and offered them 120 and they maybe didn't take it. Maybe no one's offered them 120. No one offered them 150 or they would have sold it, or it's not really for sale, right? Everyone puts up fake for sale signs because why not? Maybe someone's going to come up and offer you $500,000 for a $50,000 property. If all it takes is putting up a sign, it's like playing the lotto. Well, it's only $1. Right? Are you going to lose that dollar? Probably, but it's only $1. Okay. Right? Easy to convince people to do that. It may not make sense. It doesn't matter. The lotto doesn't make sense, but people do it every day. So playing that Hail Mary play of maybe someone's going to be crazy and spend $500,000 on my shack, they will do that because why not? It's the one thing they have to gamble with. So all that information, that takes time. You need to do that. And your lawyer, your proxy, yourself, you can do that and gain that information. Once you're ready to actually buy a house, if you're lucky, you can do so without letting people know that you are the person who's buying it. You don't want to be a gringo or obviously a foreigner, which is, there's no hiding. Even Nicaraguans who move away for 10 years and come back can't hide that they've lived abroad, and they start getting gringo priced. So you really want locals who are going to be able to go on and negotiate for you in most cases. If you're in an enclave or something, that's not going to matter, right? Sometimes there's set prices even. Sometimes everyone's a gringo, so everyone's gringo priced, or however you want to look at it. But when you're looking at the deals, you're looking at, houses around the country, you need to have Nicaraguans who can pass for Nicaraguans, who are Nicaraguans full-time, all the time, who are going to go and negotiate that. They will get the best deal for you, but you've got to have trusted people who are going to do that. Your lawyer could be that person, absolutely, in most cases. And then you need your lawyer to do all the due diligence, making sure that the deed is free and clear, that the property is properly surveyed, and that you're getting exactly what you expect, and everyone's on the same page, and you've walked the property, and you know what you're getting, and you know the building, and you get the inspections, and the roof's good, and all that stuff. Have them handle that, and then that's how you buy a house. And I know that nobody likes this answer because it requires work, and it's not magic, and it's not instant. But if you want to not be ripped off, if you want to get a legitimate deal where you know you're actually getting a house, that you actually get the deed. I know people who haven't gotten the deeds to their houses because they didn't follow this advice. Right? The degree to which you can be scammed if you engage a real estate agent is basically 100%. Everything that could go wrong because of the decision, just that one decision, to put that person into a trusted, unregulated position in your life. You're basically giving them nearly the power of attorney. You're giving them the insight of an attorney, and they have none of the ethical requirements. They have none of the legal requirements. They have none of the oversight. They have none of the framework. They're just a random person that you're handling. And in many cases, they have no information that you don't have, or very little, sometimes less, right? They're driving the same streets. They're knocking on the same doors. They're talking to the same people. They don't have any special access. Now, if they do it full time, they've done it for a long time, they're going to have a little bit of insight that you don't have. Sure, but that only makes them more powerful and more dangerous to you. They're not your friend. If you pay someone on commission, they're not your friend, right? They are paid to take advantage of you. This is actually the person you need to be most scared of, right? So that's what you do. So who do I recommend? No one. How do you do it? You follow the steps, you be patient. If you have to rush, you have to rush in logical ways. And that is what it is. Not everything in life is a great answer. But why are real estate values in Nicaragua so good? Why are there so many beautiful houses on the market? Why are there so many opportunities for wonderful things for you in life here in Nicaragua? Well, some of it is because it's not 100% just snap your fingers easy. If all you had to do was pick up a phone and say, hey, real estate agent guy, I want a house in Nicaragua. I want it to be super cheap. I want it to be an amazing house. I want no one else to know about it. I want it tomorrow and I want to be able to move in. And he goes, fine, that'll be $20,000. You're good to go. Greatest deal ever. I won't even take a commission because I know you want a good deal, and it would just say, wow, you don't have to pay me. My pleasure to do it. If you could do that, everyone would buy every property in Nicaragua would be gone tomorrow. But you can't. You have to negotiate. You have to research. You have to cajole. You have to work around all the people trying to scam you. There are challenges. It's not that bad, but you have to stay in control. You can't just be like, you know what? I'm going to trust some random person. And he's going to protect me. That's not how it works. Don't do that, right? That person calling you on the phone saying you just won $1 million in a game you didn't play is scamming you. That Nigerian prince is not looking to be your real estate agent, right? Don't fall for these things. Think critically. Use trusted resources, pay in trusted ways, do your own due diligence, keep your feet on the ground, actively do things. You have amazing opportunities. And I say the same thing about business in Nicaragua. One of the reasons I like doing business in Nicaragua is because it's hard. It's not hard just for me. It's not hard for just me and my friends. It's hard for everyone. We're all on equal footing. Those of us who are willing to put in the effort, who have the energy, who work through the pains and the challenges and the unknowns of doing business in a new market, we're the ones who eventually get rewarded because we know how to do it and we have the contacts. We know how to call the tax office and apologize for getting things wrong, and who to talk to and who to pay and how to get your bills taken care of because you didn't file the right paperwork and they don't even know who to send it to, and you're like, wait, I had to deal with this. I need to talk to this guy. I need to pay him my taxes, and then he can put it through this system. You have to know that stuff in some cases. And you say, wow, that sounds awful. And it kind of is, but it's equal footing. All the businesses are on the same footing. We're all dealing with the same complex paperwork. We're all dealing with the systems that people don't know necessarily. The people who want to just walk in and be like, this is gonna be easy, right? It's gonna be like in the US where everything's just, no, it's not like that. And sure, you could say that's unfortunate on a national scale, but on a business scale, you don't care about those things. On a business scale, all the businesses are going through that same pain. So those of us who fought through it, who've learned those things, who jump through the hoops, do our due diligence, do our paperwork, put together a good team, we have an advantage because we know what we're doing. And so many competing businesses don't. And yeah, it's rough because they pop in, they pop out. It is what it is. But the same thing applies to real estate. If you put in the time, you put in that effort, you have the opportunity to take such great advantage of so many people feeling that that's a barrier they can't get over, or just not being willing to do it and they're just going to pay double and whatever, or they're just going to give up or whatever. It actually is in your favor if you follow the steps. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/ScottAllenMiller. Anytime someone asks you about real estate agents, who you would recommend, whatever, because some of you get this, just link them this. This is why I made this video. This is the easy link. I'm going to give this to everyone who asks, at least for 2024. Maybe I'll make another one next year. But this is the quick link that anyone can have for why we recommend that you don't talk to a buyer's agent. Seller's agents are different. We'll try to put that in the notes. That is a completely different thing. If someone truly represents a house and you don't have any choice about it, that's okay. You don't pay the commission. It's not your thing. Still, try to talk to the actual owners, not the seller's agents, because there's every chance the seller's agent isn't really a seller's agent. Nothing that you think you hear until the owner themselves tell you that they are the owner. You can prove that they're the owner, and they say, only this agent can you talk to. That is the only scenario where you can have faith that there is an actual seller's agent. Nobody else can make that claim. No agent can say, I'm the agent for this house. Are you? I don't trust you. Anyone can say that. I can say that. I'll say it right now. I am the sole seller's agent for all properties in Nicaragua. There, I've proved that anyone can say it about any house. Now try to disprove it. You'd have to go door to door and get those people to disprove it. That's why you don't do that, right? But anytime someone says they're the seller's agent for the house and they can't produce the owner to back that up, say, no, I talked to Scott. He said years ago in 2024, he said he was for all properties and for all future time. The entire country is represented by me. So disprove that. And then you can move forward, right? Now you have that tool. It's a logical device that you can use to disprove that claim. Like and subscribe if you have a chance. Put this on social media. Let someone know about the show. If anyone's thinking about buying property down here, send them this episode, and I'll do my best at the end to link some additional episodes that make sense and down in the description below, of course, for people who are looking at real estate. I know it sounds tough. I know it sounds scary. It's not, but it does require patience, and it does require you to be involved. And it does require a little bit more honestly, it's thinking inside the box. It's North America. It's the weird monopolistic agent union thing in America that's weird. That's outside the box. This is just normal. Get a lawyer, look at houses, talk directly. This is as simple as it gets. This is as straightforward as it gets. It's just no one's going to hold your hand unless you pay them. And there are people, not me, but there are people that you can pay to do that. And really, you want to be a Nicaraguan. Even if I was willing to do it, which I would like to, it would be fun. I'm not a Nicaraguan, and I would instantly tip someone off. Anyone. Like, I'm pretty recognizable. I'd instantly tip people off that I was trying to help someone get real estate, and your prices would go up. So you don't want me involved, even if you want me involved. And no matter how much I would like to help you, I just can't. And anyone who looks like me or with less beard can't help you either. So if your agent looks like me, or if you have an agent at all, this is another important tip right at the end. If anybody is a foreigner and involved in the process, or anyone looks like or sounds like a foreigner is involved in the process, or any agent is involved in the process, instantly everyone knows that there is a gringo or some foreigner involved, and the prices are going to be harder to negotiate because locals know not to use real estate agents as a buyer's agent. And so just by using one tells a potential buyer that they don't have to go to the bottom price. And in many cases, it tells them they don't have to go even within a reasonable price. So also be aware that there's just a price increase no matter what. Even if an agent wanted to do a good job and they tried really hard, they can't. The nature of being an agent guarantees that they have tipped your hand, and the seller knows too much about you. Your negotiating position has been deteriorated. I'll see you all tomorrow. And I'm going to pop up on the screen 4 episodes that just click on one and help support the channel. And at the end of that one, click on another one. All of that, it really, seriously, that helps so much.